You know, it's been a common belief all my life that old guitars sound better than new guitars. Guitars like pre-war Martins, Gibson Jumbos from the 1930s, up into Les Pauls and Strats in the 50s and 60s. A lot of the reason for that is because old guitars dry out. That's what people always say. It loses moisture and some of the sugars in the cells and gets dry and has much more sonorous sound. And then for other people, it's more of a nostalgic thing, I believe. They don't make them like they used to. Well, the two guitars that I have here today are really old and they're really cool. Blake's holding an 1872 CF Martin 126, beautiful little guitar. This is a James Ashbourne Model 4 from 1852. That's vintage, man. These are the oldest guitars I ever played.
Right?
So these were both in the shop at the same time for quite a bit of repair, and they sound good.
They sound really good.
Before sending them back, we thought we'll make a little video with these so you can have a chance to hear how they sound.
Now keep in mind, when these guitars were built, they were built for gut strings, and those were strings made out of animal intestine. You might have heard it called catgut.
They didn't have the modern synthetics like nylon and things like that back then.
And they weren't really using steel strings on these lightly made guitars.
It would destroy them.
Right. I mean, and since string material makes such a huge impact on the guitar, we thought we'd order some gut strings.
You can still buy gut strings. We found that out. I didn't know that. These were $109 a set. So with both these guitars up and playing great, and they both have real gut strings on, we're gonna do a little demo so that we can all hear what these guitars might have sounded like back in the day. And Blake, will you do the honors?
No problem. Happy to do it. Before we talk about the strings, I mean, just the difference between the two guitars, there's a pretty stark difference.
I think the Martin here is brighter, more Martin-y sound.
Really? Right. This is a lot more mellow, this Ashbourne.
Tone-wise, though, I think the Ashbourne has more powerful trebles. That, to me, is a stronger sound.
Yeah. It sustains longer.
And it's a smaller guitar.
Which is interesting. And this has an ivory nut, where this one's just a piece of ebony.
That makes a lot of difference on the open strings. I love the way that the ebony nut on that hangs over the edges. It's a decoration thing. My first impression of real gut strings was the bass strings sound horrible.
Yeah.
Bob, bob, bob.
They sound like an upright bass. I really like the gut strings, though, after a while, once they broke in. I don't know, just something calming about it.
Calming is a good word for it.
You know?
I think that has a lot to do with it. One thing I could say about doing this is you have to tune these for an hour or two. You got to sit there and just keep on tuning them because it takes a long time to stay at pitch.
Yeah, the strings
stretch
so much.
And they don't sound good till they get to pitch.
Vintage guitars might sound better, but I definitely don't think they're as easy to play. Wider neck, with a V profile, a little bit thicker.
How skinny the frets are?
Yeah, I mean,
these
they're really
frets
skinny.
Are really low.
Those old bar frets like that.
These have flat fretboards. There's not a radius at all.
Right. And these guitars, you know, they weren't really made for playing high up the neck. It's quite difficult.
Well, we could put a cutaway on it. Okay, now let's try something else. We're not done yet. Now we're going to put modern nylon strings on these. Experts in the field have told me that if you put modern nylon strings on either of these guitars, it's going to bring out way more of the nuances that's in the wood of that guitar and the way it was braced.
I can't wait to find out.
So we've heard them both, the Martin and the Ashbourne, with nylon strings, modern made. Do you think this brings out more in the qualities of the guitar than what you just played on those catgut?
I think the nylon strings bring out the whole life of the guitar. They have so much more clarity than the gut strings did, especially on the bass strings, you know. I mean,
Listen to the brightness of that.
That's so bright. It's much
Why
brighter.
would you need more?
I don't think you would. Not to mention that they're probably $100 cheaper.
That's important.
Yeah. But Dan, we're not done yet, are we?
Nope. We have to put on one more set of strings, only on the Martin, not on the Ashbourne. It's way too old for that. It couldn't handle them. They'll be silk and steel. It's known that you can get away with silk and steel on some of these old guitars, and man, when you do, it's another whole step up. Cool it, man. Cool off. That's too hot for me.
Is that not incredible?
Isn't that killer?
Isn't that amazing sounding? I've never heard a guitar that sounds like this.
There's a lot of people that I talked to in the last 2 weeks that would say, no, it's overdriving the top. You're not getting the nuances.
I don't know. It didn't.
I don't believe that.
This one didn't overdrive very much. I've heard tops that go kind of flubby when you have too much going on, and this one can handle it. It just sounds great. It's so bright and clear. His bass strings are great. The high strings are great.
When you went up higher and played that little blues lick, that was up there. That was clear.
Yeah, I mean,
That's silk and steel.
it's all there. It's like glass.
So then, let me ask you,
Uh-huh.
do you think you could go out today and find a modern-made guitar that could sound this good without having 150 years of music played?
It's a pretty hard question to answer, you know?
How would you know?
It's kind of subjective, and I would have to do some scientific side-by-side comparisons, but I guess that's a great question for our viewers.
The sound of the perfect guitar can bring tears to your eyes. I'd love to hear from people out there, what do you own? What have you played that just, if you hear any other guitar, it doesn't compare?
Have you ever played a guitar that just makes you sleepless at night, thinking about how good it sounds?
Which set of those strings brought out what you think is the best from that guitar?
While you guys are leaving your comments down below, me and Dan are going to play some songs and enjoy these guitars while we have them.